Hello friends, welcome back to my channel and to another Plan With Me video. This week we are using a beautiful kit from Plannerface. I have also paired it with some Plannerface foil, but as of right now when I'm doing this voiceover in August of 2025, I still have not done foil overlays or glitter headers, header overlays, so I do need to go back and do that. But I do really love this spread. It is very soft, very pastel, very muted, but just everything about it is absolute perfection. It is a beautiful spring kit. I don't think it's available in store anymore. I have a feeling I picked it up on sale when I picked it up, and that was a little while ago now. But yeah. I don't know if I said that I'm back planning or memory planning the week of the 11th of November to the 17th of November using this kit. We do also have a little extender on Monday, which, because I haven't put my overlays on, keeps bending and keeps getting stuck. So whenever I turn the page, it like gets caught and it's like crumpled my sticker a couple of times, but it is what it is. Also, I'm going to apologize in advance if you can hear the dreadful wind outside. It has been windy for the last 2 days, and it's meant to be windy right through to the weekend, and they're saying it's going to be like Arctic temperatures, and like I said, August, end of winter. Very confusing because at the beginning of the week we had the most beautiful spring weather ever. I had my glass doors open so that the fresh air could come inside, and it was absolutely beautiful. And now we're sitting here, well, I'm sitting here in a tracksuit with a blanket on, and it is freezing. Also, right on cue, I'm doing a voiceover and my doggo wants to bark, so apologies for that as well. Anywho, this is kind of a shorter voiceover. You guys know I'm just trying to pump these videos out at this point because I really want to get into 2025 content with you all. So many exciting things have happened in 2025 that I want to share with you all. So I'm just trying to get through these videos at this point, and we are so close. We have like what, a month's worth of spreads left to share, so it's very exciting. But nonetheless, let's go ahead and get into the plans for this week. So this week's sidebar, we did have a tall box, so I've got the tall box and then 2 extra full boxes. Then I've left a spot for like my highlight or like fun thing of the week, which I still haven't filled in. I've actually been, like, in my downtime the last couple of nights, I've actually been going back through these spreads to try and fill in gaps, replace scripts, add in my highlights where I haven't, trying to get this planner finished so that I can at some point actually do a flip through, because to date, even though I've planned for many years, I've never done a planner flip through. I don't know if I'm going to go back and finish like 2023 spreads or before that, because there are honestly so many holes in my planners and so many spreads that I haven't done. But then there's also kits in my collection that I've like mentally sidebarred for those old spreads. So I don't know. We'll see what happens. Maybe when I, feel like I need to play with stickers or whatever, I'll play with stickers in my old planners. Try and get rid of those collections. Try and get those planners caught up, and we can do like a mega rewind planner flip through situation. I don't know. But anywho, back to this week. So Monday the 11th, the first thing that I marked was that I had a blood test. So remembering from a couple of weeks ago, we were prepping for an embryo transfer. So our embryo transfer was scheduled for this week. This was our 3rd embryo transfer cycle. So our first embryo did not implant. It was back in June that was confirmed. We then did another transfer in July, which I wasn't going to mention until the flip through. Trigger warning for pregnancy loss, miscarriage, etc. But we did actually get pregnant in July, so we confirmed the pregnancy in August, but the transfer was in July. So we did get pregnant from that, and unfortunately did have a miscarriage. So we lost our little Bobby in September, which was really sad. I can talk about that more later in a flip through or something like that if you guys are interested, but that's why I didn't do like a whole bunch of spreads in August and September, because I just mentally I couldn't. And then this was going to be our third transfer cycle. And I mentioned a couple of videos ago that you get one free transfer with IVF every calendar year. And after that, you're paying literally thousands of dollars up front. Again, you do get at least half of that back-ish from Medicare. But rough ball figure, you're looking at least $4,000 per transfer. So y'all can do the math. But anywho, blood test, Monday. Would have gotten myself McDonald's. That's like my tradition. I have a blood test, a follicle scan, I get McDonald's. I then dropped my husband off at the station because, again, for anyone who's been watching for a little while, and for those who are new, of course, hi, hello, and welcome. But whenever I do have blood tests or follicle scans, my husband will drive me in because I do get anxious with needles. Funny for someone who's done multiple rounds of IVF. So he comes with me. After my blood test, I drop him to the station, and then I have to go and pick him up from the station at night when he comes home from work. So I dropped him off. I then actually had a dentist appointment this day because I had to get a crown done, and my specialist had told me to do my crown before the transfer because they don't like you to really do too much in pregnancy around dental, particularly if it's going to involve like anesthesia and things like that. So this was the day I got my crown done. Oh, I did mark Macca's breakfast. I just had it late because of the dentist appointment, of course. I then did log in for work for the day. Did end up having a headache after the crown, but I was a good girl. I went for a walk. They say that walking helps with blood flow and the transfer and all of that, so I was trying to be really good around that. So I went for a walk. I had a nap. I did some laundry. I went and picked up my husband. And then that night we did have kebabs for dinner because when I pick him up, it's at like 7:30 at night. So we don't get home until like 8, just after 8. We decided that we didn't want to have to cook at that time. So we got some kebabs. I marked that we chilled with our doggos. And then I finished off the night by watching Emily in Paris. On Tuesday, I worked. I marked that it was a rainy day. I got a call from the IVF clinic to schedule the transfer time and to do my trigger shot that night. The trigger shot is essentially to release my eggs because I don't ovulate. So I use hormone replacement therapy to actually do that for me. So I use the hormone injections to grow my follicles, and then I use the trigger shot to release the egg or any eggs that have grown, to mimic what would happen in a normal period cycle for, a regular woman, or at least what should happen. I then marked that I went for a walk again. I've made space for a TV show, which I'm assuming was Emily in Paris. I marked colouring, and then I think we were watching How I Met Your Mother at this point, so I've left a space for that as well. Wednesday, I marked getting up early because this was the day of our transfer. The day of our transfer being the 13th. 13 holds a very bad rep in my household or my family and has for a long time. I'll try and be really quick, but essentially it's a bad luck number. So they actually called me as we were about to step out the door. They called me and said that unfortunately our embryo did not defrost. It was the only embryo that we had left, and because it did not defrost, we could not do the transfer. So we essentially lost that embryo and the transfer was cancelled. And I just remember that when I got off the phone with them, I cried. I threw my phone across the table and I said something along the lines of like, I knew it because it was the 13th. So to me, knowing that my transfer was scheduled on the 13th, I just had this really bad feeling. And sure enough, it all got cancelled and we were left with nothing. And of course, it was the end of the year. So for me to start another cycle, you have to wait for your period. But then the IVF clinic closes over Christmas and New Year. So we weren't going to get to do another egg collection cycle, essentially starting again to collect eggs all over again to try and make more embryos because we had nothing left until the New Year. So I was devastated. So I did actually make that. I did make a note of that in my planner. I then went back to bed because I was so incredibly sad, but my husband decided that we should go out and try and get our minds off it. So we did go to the cafe. I think we went with his mum and we had I don't know if it was breakfast or lunch or brunch. And then unfortunately, just to make things even worse, on this day, I found out that my childhood best friend's dad had passed away that morning as well. He had a heart attack, unfortunately. So it's an awful day. Moving on. On the 14th, I did have a day off of work. I think I already had that scheduled because of the transfer. I was going to take a couple of days off just to rest and relax and hopefully promote pregnancy. So I just decided to keep those days off because I needed it mentally. So I did have a sleep in. I put a little TV icon there. Again, I'm going to assume it was for marking that I watched Emily in Paris. I then had a waxing appointment this day. I marked that I ate leftover spaghetti. Don't know why I put that in there. Obviously had space and nothing else to put there. And then we watched another TV show, which again I'm going to assume was How I Met Your Mother. Clearly I have to go back and finish this spread off. On Friday, again I did mark yet another day off. And then I marked that I had avocado and Vegemite toast and coffee for breakfast. Got a TV icon there, again assuming Emily in Paris. Then I've got something else there, so I've watched something else, a movie maybe, I don't know. I then got a call from my IVF specialist just to touch base and discuss obviously the bad news about the transfer. And then that night we watched Black Widow. On a Saturday, I marked sleeping in. Again, I've left a blank space for TV. I have to go back and find these plans because I've got no idea what I did on these days. I pulled some stickers. We went out for dinner to Red Spoon Thai, which is like my favorite Thai place ever. It does the most amazing crispy chili jam chicken. Ugh, makes my mouth water. And then we went and watched Terrifier 3. Yes, we are those people. And then on Sunday, lazy morning, YouTube binge, filmed, and put in a whole bunch of boxes that I didn't fill out. So there is that. Anyway, regardless of the terrible news on the 13th, I hope you enjoyed this video, and I will see you all again very soon for another Plan With Me video. Thanks for watching. Bye!